Hello everyone. In this video I'm gonna discuss the changes that were done in yesterday's patch, meaning on the 1st of December 2020. So let's see them. Elementalist Convergence. Okay, this is basically nothing. Then Tempestuous Aura. This trait no longer increases the maximum number of targets of shout skills. And shout skills now in PvE they went from 5 targets to 10. So, meaning that on World vs World we have only 5 targets with shouts, even with Tempestuous area. So, I think now it's better to go Invigorating Torrents, so we get actually regeneration and vigor when giving auras to our allies. And instead of powerful aura, we can run Cleansing Water. Since we cleanse a condition from allies, you grant regeneration too. And so we give regeneration with this, and so it's 5 extra cleanses per shout, meaning we can match the Tempestuous area, but still we lose the powerful aura trait. But I don't think this is a big nerf, to be honest. But we also lose, in my opinion, we shouldn't run anymore the Eye of the Storm, because it was really huge to apply super speed on 10 people. But on 5 people I don't think it's really worth it, even if it's a break stun still for 5 people. But I think we should run a lower cooldown shout, like Feel the Burn, in my opinion, which gives an aura, fire aura, so we can benefit from this and from this. Also, since we don't, with powerful aura, the only aura we could give to other allies was the ones from the overloads, but now we don't have powerful aura, so I don't think the aura from overloads is really worth it. Unstable Conduit. So we might go Latent Stamina, which grant vigor to nearby allies when attuning to water, and restore endurance to allies who grant vigor. So we give some endurance when we give vigor to our allies, and we give vigor with every shout, because we have Invigorating Torrents. Shout gives aura and so regeneration too. I would keep Aftershock because it's still huge immobilize, and it's magnetic aura. Also don't forget about Rebound, which gives us an aura when it expires if we don't take a lethal blow. I would recommend using it during the air, so we get shocking aura on us and on our allies. And then I think this is it. I also like to run staff here instead of dagger warhorn, but it's up to you. But with this build it's probably better to go staff, since you give regeneration with your staff 5, and you can fully benefit from this one. Like, it already removes one condi, then you will remove 2 because you apply regeneration. And also you usually run dagger for the shocking aura 3. Like here there was the shocking aura on dagger, and if you run powerful aura it makes sense to run dagger because you share it, but otherwise I don't think it's really worth it. On staff you have the magnetic aura, but it's not as strong as the shocking aura. Then let's see the other changes. Engineer. Okay, on the engineer, the explosive entrance was nerfed in PvP. Also every grenade in PvP was nerfed, so we don't care about this. And bomb kit skill 1 reduce power coefficient from 85 to 70 in World vs World only. This was another nerf to the power Pscrapper, which is not really popular nowadays, even though it's strong, and I think it's one of the strongest melee build even now for the damage. So I don't think this nerf will kill the class. Now let's get to the hot topic of the patch. Holy Strike for Guardian, reduce power coefficient from 125 to 91 in World vs World only. This is the staff 2, Symbol of Swiftness, reduce the power coefficient, War vs Sword. This is the staff tree. Symbol of Management is the Scepter 2, which was the main damager on War vs Sword. Reduce symbol power coefficient per strike. Sword of Justice, reduce. Sword of Justice is actually huge nerf, like from 72 to 54. It's a big, really big nerf. Test of Fate is the trap. Zealous Scepter is a trait which we weren't running anyways. So yeah, we don't really care about this, but the Sword of Justice and Symbol of Punishment, and also the 2 staff skills like Holy Strike was nerfed by 1/3 basically, or something. So yes, Pguard, in my opinion, is pretty dead now, because it was super strong because of the huge damage, but it didn't provide anything else basically. It's not like Scourge, which provides some cleanses, some barriers, and like huge corruption. It's not like Revenant, which provides the Dwarf Roads, the Dwarf Elite, also the glyphs, like the facets, not the glyphs. It has a huge ranged damage, burst damage on the Revenant, like Guardian. I think it's pretty much dead, but I didn't try yet, but this is my thought for now. Necromancer, Well of Darkness. Okay, we didn't use it on the Scourge. It's a bit of nerf for the Reaper, if you run Reaper or Core Necromancer, since as you see, like, you do half damage now, or a bit more than half damage with Well of Darkness. Well of Corruption was nerfed a bit, but it already was a bad damage skill, so it's okay, it's not a big deal. Necromancer, Scourge is still meta. Revenant, Draconic Echo. This trait no longer increases the number of targets of passive facet skills. Oh, wait, let me log in the Revenant. Just a second. Hoping it doesn't DC. So, by the way, this means that with the trait is like the Tempest. With the trait, we no longer afflict 10 people, but we only affect 5 people. From 10 to 5. Then Inspiring Reinforcement. This was nerfed, a big nerf actually, from 1.5 to 1.0 in WvW only. This is the Inspiring Reinforcement is this skill, which was one of your main damage dealers. And then here, instead of Draconic Echo, maybe it's better to go Forceful Persistence, because we do more damage with our upkeep skills active. But I don't know, I still like Draconic Echo, because even if it afflicts only 5 targets now, you can still keep them when you swap them, like over when you use them. See, we use this, but they still apply the buffs for 6 seconds. I think I would leave Draconic Echo, to be honest. Then, what else was nerfed? They nerfed Incensed Responses, okay, doesn't really matter. Coalescence of Ruin. Reduce power coefficient from 1.5 to 1.15 in War vs World only. Reduced on cooldown from 10 to 8 seconds. Yeah, well, this is another big nerf, because Coalescence of Ruin is usually the top skill on your arc DPS, and it's a huge AoE damage ranged, and it was nerfed by quite solid nerf, even though the cooldown went from 10 to 8 seconds, so it's a more active gameplay, maybe, like, you have to use it more, so you spam more your skill. Then we have Phase Smash, reduce power coefficient. This is another big nerf. Phase Smash is another of your top skill of damage. This one, the Hammer 3, the famous Hammer 3, the infamous Hammer 3, which is huge damage from kilometers, burst damage, and yeah, the damage was nerfed by a solid amount, to be honest, like 1.36 to 1.2. It's actually not so big, but yeah, it still affects us. And the other nerfs were for PvP only. see if I will skip it, as it's War vs. War. I speak about blobs and I don't know about other stuff. And let's see. On the warrior, what was nerfed? Winds of Disenchantment. The skill is no longer channeled. Instead, it drops a stationary spell area that lasts for 5 seconds with 1 1-second pulse interval. Okay, this is both a nerf and both a buff. Let's see really quickly. The Winds of Disenchantment is this skill. It's your elite skill. It was channeled and you could walk around with it, and you could be stunned. And it removed one boon from enemies inside, 5 enemies inside, each 0.5 seconds, meaning 2 boons per second. Now instead it's 1 boon per second, but it remains stationary. You use it and you can leave, and the bubble stays there, and it still works for you. But it means that also it removes less boons than before, since it went from like 2 per second to 1 per second. But the good thing is they can't stun you anymore during it, like except the initial cast, but it was like 4 or 5 seconds channel before, and you could be stunned during this time. Now you can really suicide on enemy blob. You drop this with stability, and if they don't stun you during the 1.5 second of cast, the bubble will work for you on the enemy bubble and stay there 5 seconds, and basically you are forcing them to run out of that area. It's really strong in choke fights, so I think it's both a nerf for the boon removal, but also a boost for actually brain dead gameplay, because you can really rush to the enemy even if you are not on tag, drop your bubble, and even if you die you still get loot and you still work for your team basically. So let's see what else for the warrior. Break enchantments. Reduce the number of boons removed from 4 to 2 in War vs. World only. Cooldown from 25 to 15 seconds only. In WvW only. Increase power coefficient. Okay, this is this skill. They boosted the power coefficient by quite a solid amount, but it's still almost 0 damage. Like, well, maybe with the damage increase to 100%, it's a bit of damage, but not so big. And it was 4 boons removed for 25 second cooldown. Now it's 2 boons removed for 15 seconds, meaning it's a nerf to the corruption, to the boon removal. But it's a more active gameplay, like you get to spam more your skills, like you have 10 seconds less cooldown on this skill, but 2 boons removed less. So yeah, it's a nerf. On a long period of time it's a nerf, like you have less boon. It's a fact. If you do the math, it's a fact. And then let's see what else. Roaring Reveal. This trait no longer increases the number. Okay, it happens for the Warhorn skills, the same as Revenant Facets and Tempest Shouts. They afflict 10 people even without the trait, only in PvE, and in War vs. World it applies to 5 people even with the trait. But the trait still gives us resistance on the 5 and fury on the 4, and they are already big skills like this one. Immobilize, cripple and chill, give swiftness and even fury if you have the trait. This one removes 2 conditions and gives a big barrier and gives vigor, 12 seconds, huge, and also resistance with the trait. So this is a solid nerf, to be honest, because 10 people 4k barrier was huge, but now it's only 5 targets. So here, I don't know, we might run something like Soldier's Comfort, maybe to heal affected allies, but I'm not really sure, to be honest. Like some people say you can run now Power Spellbreaker because of the nerfs, like you can drop your bubble and spend the rest of the time doing damage, since you don't need to stay alive so long, since your bubble is dropped. You don't really need to care about getting interrupted during the cast. Like, you drop it safely, it's not more channeled anymore. Like, you do this and done. 5 seconds here, then you swap to, I don't know, to your greatsword, axe, and you go berserker and do damage with probably endure pain or something. But we shall test it. Actually, we will test it, and maybe I will make a video about it if it works. And okay, this is basically it for this class, I think. Let me see. War on skis, vigorous shout, PvP only, might makes right. We don't use this trait. Okay, this was all for today's patch and today's video. Thank you for watching, as usual.